Primero darles las gracias a todos por haber tomado este tiempo para poder asistir a esta parte que es nuestro bloque internacional de Artlum. Aunque es pequeño, es súper relevante, porque tenemos unos súper invitados internacionales que nos van a regalar una visión del arte lumínico en el contexto de Artlum, que es el Festival de Arte Lumínico, y una visión personal y una visión desde la comunidad. Entonces, yo estoy muy feliz que nos hayan aceptado esta invitación. Primero, va a hablar Light Collective, que son ingleses, y para contarles que en el fondo, personalmente, yo gracias a ellos conozco mucho el arte lumínico en general, desde las intervenciones que hicieron con Lighting Guerrilla, que eran instalaciones temporales de arte lumínico en la ciudad, eh, y después de haber hecho curatorías para presentar, recolectar y poner en valor nuevas generaciones y nuevos artistas lumínicos dentro de presentaciones que han hecho no solo con publicaciones del Women Lighting, sino también, por ejemplo, en París y en otros lugares, múltiples ciudades. Entonces, Martin Lupton y Sharon Stammer serían nuestros primeros conferencistas de esta gran oficina que se llama Light Collective. Y después abriría Aleksandra Stratimirovic para presentarnos su visión en relación a las comunidades. En general, todos los trabajos que yo conozco de de Aleksandra Stratimirovic, están vinculados a una conexión con la comunidad. Y es súper sensible en relación a esta conexión que yo creo que hace los proyectos tan sensibles y verdaderos más allá de los instrumentos o como del exceso de recursos, sino que son muy sensibles. Después de eso vamos a tener una sección de preguntas. Y la idea es que son conferencias cortitas de media hora y después viene la sección de preguntas. Y yo los voy a introducir en inglés y ahí van a empezar. Acuérdense que están los subtítulos habilitados. So, in English. So thank you very much for being with us. We are super, super happy that you join us in this, the first big version of Artlum Festival in Santiago. And this is a short connection, international, but it's really important. So first, Light Collective, which is Martin Lupton and Sharon Stammer, will speak. Then Aleksandra Stratimirovic, and then we will have a section of Q&A to end with this event. So starting with the Light Collective, so as you say in your country, the floor is yours, so you can start.
Thank you, Paulina. Thank you very much. And thank you for the introduction in English so that we could understand what you're saying. That was really nice of you. We're really sorry that we don't speak Spanish. We promised to try and learn it soon, but we're probably a bit old for that now. So what we're going to do is we're going to share with you now is our sort of basically our personal perspective of light art. So I'm Martin, and speaking with me is Sharon down there. Wave, Sharon, so everybody knows which one's you. Hello. So we're from the UK, as Paulina said, and our background is actually architectural lighting, but we've been involved in hundreds of light-based projects that really encompass all sorts of different areas of light. And one thing that's really important to us and has been important to us for many years is the search for inspiration. So lighting's a creative subject, and we love to continually search for new inspiration. It's something we work at really hard. As I said, we sort of started off our careers in architectural lighting, and between us, we've probably worked on every different type of architectural lighting scheme possible, from big schemes like this is a shopping centre in Kuwait. This is a small part of a huge shopping centre. This is the entrance to the cinema. And that the whole egg there that you see in front of you is video tile, so it's all mirrored. And when it's off, it's a mirror. When it's on, it's a video. It's quite a massive scheme. But then we've also worked on a lot of small projects. This is a private house in the hills in Tuscany. And it's probably simplest to say that we're a creative consultancy. We create things around light or with light at their heart. And that ranges from books, events, installations, trade shows, conferences. And probably the one thing that we're most proud of creating is communities. We've worked really hard over the years to try and bring people together around light. We've always been involved in what we call activist projects that are to do with light. And many of our collective projects are activist and based on light. So this image is from a project called Guerrilla Lighting. It's a guerrilla lighting event where the aim was to involve local communities to light up their own environments so they could learn firsthand the power of light to transform a space. So every light source you see in this image is handheld by a person. It's a really simple battery-powered torch. Some of them have gels, some of them are shining on architecture, some of them are shining onto mirror balls to create reflections, but every element of light in that photograph is actually a temporary light source held by a person. Some other examples of the projects we're doing, and I will let Sharon talk in a minute. This is Going Dark. It's a workshop that happened for the last 2 years, 2 nights in Italy. We take over a little village in Tuscany. They let us turn all the lights off, and then we get some temporary lights and get the designers to play with different light levels so they can really understand how little light you need to light up a surface in a heritage environment, and so you can see the night sky. This is another event that started in Mexico. It's called Disruption. And essentially, this is our sort of future-focused festival. It happens, it's happened in Mexico, London, and Madrid so far, and it's coming back to Mexico in November this year. But essentially what we're doing is bringing together loads of different disruptive people. So some are based in light, some are in areas around light, neuroarchitecture, AI, but basically we're trying to get people talking about the technologies of the future and how they can affect lighting. And then probably, I'm going to hand over to Sharon now to start talking because I've probably said enough now.
I did wonder if you were just going to keep
go
going
on,
and do the whole presentation. Okay. As Martin said, we've always been really obsessed with finding inspiration. So alongside our kind of day job of working with light, we've tried to always fit in time to seek out interesting things, whether that's architecture or great natural phenomena or light art. And we were also really obsessed with filming it for a very long time. And I would say probably this video must be at least 10 years old. I think probably in a time where people weren't producing content quite so, frequently. And it's us at the Tyrrell Sky Space in Yorkshire. And we went through a big phase of seeking out things like this that we wanted to experience and then share them with other people, but also to capture what the light art was doing, but people's reaction to it as well, to see how light art affected other people. Our search for inspiration has taken us to all sorts of places around the world. Some we've been lucky enough to be in for work or for a conference, and others we've taken a special trip to. So this is an actual image. It doesn't look like it. It looks like an AI image actually now. And it was a tiny village in Sweden that had been taken over by James Turrell. And all of his works were on show there. So that was like a special trip for us to, actually have this experience. There is a reason I've picked all Turrell things. And then this is us traveling to Japan and staying in the House of Light. which is another Tyrrell installation. You can stay overnight and experience the Tyrrell light program in the morning and at the end of the day. So we've really been lucky to travel far afield to have these experiences. Even 1 week ago, we were in Dubai for other projects, and we made time to drive over to Abu Dhabi to the new Team Lab experience, which is a special Team Lab museum. And if you don't know who Team Lab are, they are an incredible Japanese-based collective, I guess, that make very, very immersive environments based on light. And even though we've been looking at light art for 30 years, we can still be surprised by it. And this was particularly stunning. So we've looked a lot for inspiration, and light art has been a place we've found it. And quite a long time ago, I think probably when we first started Light Collective, we had the opportunity to sort of start fiddling around and making little things ourselves with light. I don't think we ever wanted to say they were light art, but this is a piece from I Like Marina Bay in 2012, and we're showing it to show sort of our origin of us trying to do some light art, but also because the person next to us in the festival was Aleksandra. I hope she remembers. So that was our introduction to a lot of other light artists, and for the first time to sort of meeting them and being involved with them ourselves with a project. And this project was very basic, very lo-fi. It involved mirrors and torches and stencils, which essentially allowed people to create light graffiti in Singapore, because graffiti is banned, is still banned, and it was a way of doing it so it wasn't invasive in the architecture.
And from that experience, I guess, we then sort of started to bring in something that we wanted to do, which was actually work with other people to make collective light installations. So this is Sharon stood in front of a massive series of 300 light boxes in Spectrum in Aberdeen, into Light Festival in Spectrum. And again, they asked us to do this because they wanted somebody to collaborate with local schools. And so what we did is we taught all of these kids to wire up an LED light box. So we got all the components made and little bits of batteries, and everything was plug and play. But the kids basically learned how to wire a light box and then make a front cover to it, because we wanted to sort of demonstrate that actually light's a really cool material to play with, and it's not that difficult. It's not that technical. You can wire a couple of batteries to an LED and make your own light source. We then sort of got involved with another group in New Zealand who asked us to create something for them remotely. So we weren't actually involved with this at all, but we'd been playing again with light painting at the time. So again, this was maybe 10 years ago as well. And we worked with a poet called Ford Dagenham, and he wrote a poem that used lyrics from TV programs, popular TV programs in the 80s, that all referred to light. And he took these lines from these lyrics and he made a poem. We got different groups of people that were walking past to write out each of the words. And then we projected their photograph of their words onto the side of a building. And at the end, we merged all the photographs together to make the whole poem.
I think this one is one of our kind of favourite collective light-based activities. I can't possibly say art in the same sentence as when you look at the Team Lab thing and you look at our torches and bits of cardboard. But this is one of our favourite sort of collaborative light pieces, light creations. which was called Dear Light. And it started at Light and Building, and everybody that visited the lampstand told us why they loved light. And they wrote a postcard, a love letter to light, and we cut them out and we shared them with everybody passing by. And they were all very, very beautiful. And I think, you know, anyone that's passionate about light will completely understand why we want to sort of share with other people why we love it. And we then did this again in a second time in Mexico for the ILD, and we, instead of us displaying them, we asked people to go out and take photos of their own letters, love letters to light, and again, just like a really beautiful sort of collective creation.
So I think, I mean, hopefully you're getting the message from this that a lot of our creative work is about involving other people, and that's what we want to do. So this, again, this is just a photograph from an installation called Design DNA, where we got people to answer 7 questions about their relationship with light, their experiences of light, their career, really sort of different questions, their background. And depending on what their answers were, it created a pattern in light. So we were called this their Design DNA. But every time what we're trying to do is encourage people to interact with light and create something and tell a story with light, really, or share their passion. And that's, I'm going to say, that's sort of spilt over into a lot of things we do now.
So I guess we've kind of transitioned into helping facilitate other people's artworks, and not make, sadly, as many fun light-based things ourselves. And we've got a couple of examples of this. This slide shows lots of pictures of installations from the Dark Awards, which is held here in the UK every year. We've just celebrated our 10th year. So we've had 10 years of helping up to 15 different design and manufacture pairings realize a installation piece. And I mean, some of them over the years have been absolutely stunning. They're all done on a budget, and they're all done with a sort of the carbon footprint of the installation in mind. This image is another thing along the same lines. They're all very collective, aren't they? And it's an exhibition called One Beam of Light, and we essentially held an open competition for people to create an image using a single beam and manipulating it in some way, either reflecting it, refracting it, or you know, masking it in some way. And we had a huge amount of entries and ended up having this really beautiful exhibition of people's work in London and in Estonia and
Tallinn.
thank you, yeah, and a couple of other places. So again, look, really sort of using our knowledge and sort of contacts to help sort of share what other people do, share other people's work, and share other people's light-based ideas.
And then,
and this sorry, go on.
Sorry, no, go.
And this culminated in a light art exhibition in Paris, which was called the Play of Brilliance, and we were able to invite, I think maybe 10 or 12 different artists or people working with light art from around the world to create a special piece for us for this exhibition. We had a budget enough to do that. And this piece is a really early piece from Christopher Bauder, before he obviously went on to create, you know, huge amazing things for things like Noor in Saudi, and it's 3 concentric rings that all move up and down and spin around each other in a very beautiful way. And this image is another one from the exhibition, which is 2 vases, fire and ice. Obviously, you can see which is which, from Moritz Waldemeier, who's a very great sort of technologist. So this was working with some sort of dynamic LEDs. So the vases, sort of mimicked fire or ice in their color and the pattern within them.
So I think one of the things you might notice, Sharon said at the start, there was a reason she chose 3 James Turrell. And then the last 2 images were Moritz Waldemar, Christopher Bauder. There was a point where in our search for light art, light inspiration, that merged and collided with the Women in Light project. And we realized that actually whenever you look for artists, you tend to find male light artists. They're much more prominent. If you just go on Google and you search the term light artist, your top 15 results are going to be male, apart from maybe 2. And obviously we love their work. We're great friends of Christopher Bauder. We love James Turrell's, really inspiring. But we wanted
we
to
wish we were his friend.
We wish we were his friend, yeah, and in his crater. But then we decided to see if we could do something about this imbalance and injustice. So we decided to write a book. We didn't have a publisher. Nobody asked us to do it, but we just decided to do it anyway. So it was another learning exercise for us. But we reached out to about 100 light artists or artists working with light. And out of that, about 44 responded, and they allowed us to share some images of their work and some text about their work to create this book. So here's a copy from the book. This is a piece by Liz West. We had the wonderful Aleksandra Stratimirovic. She said yes and shared her work with us. And so we created this book. You can buy it on Amazon. And we also did a limited edition print run, which we were lucky enough to then launch in London in November 2022. Sharon, is that right?
April 23. It's on the next slide.
That wasn't the launch, though. This is the second version.
Okay. For once, you are right.
For once. I'm glad this presentation's recorded.
You're going to put that clip on social media.
Absolutely.
Another learning curve for us was the idea of having an exhibition as part of the book. When we did, as part of the launch of the book, when we did the exhibition in Paris, we were working essentially with a gallery, and they did all the things like to do with shipping and ensuring the work and installing the work, and we were sort of really a bit on the sideline with that. We were the curators. And when we decided to put together an exhibition to launch the book, which was London, Milan, and Hong Kong, it was shown, we had to learn all of those things ourselves, like lots of complex things about, getting things through customs and all sorts of different things that we didn't know how to do. And with the support of Former Lighting, we were able to purchase a selection of artworks. So we have these, and we would like to show them in other places. And along the way, we also added to the collection. Obviously, the works are all by women, and some of them were specifically made for the Women in Lighting project. So this image is 2 pieces. One is Halo by Carolina Halatak, and the other is a neon piece by Kate Hush. Carolina is Polish, Kate Hush is American, and the Kate Hush piece was specifically made for us. It's called A Wade in the River Rouge, and it was about the revoking of the abortion laws in America at the time. This piece is a Liz West piece that she also specifically made for the Women in Lighting project for the exhibition, using a colour palette that she felt she was inspired by the project, and she felt sort of fitted the story we were trying to tell. This is like a memory test. This is Tamar Frank, an artist from the Netherlands. with these sort of beautiful, very slow changing colour boxes. And then we have another image here from the works, which is Tyler Berman Singh, who's a UK artist who this is one piece from hundreds of pieces that were shown on the front of the Tate Britain during COVID. So that's just a few of the pieces that we've managed to get together, purchase and be able to show.
And then the story has moved on from there, because what happened after the exhibition and after we sort of featured all of the artwork in the book on Instagram, etc., we found like hundreds more artists working with light. Some of them reached out to us. We featured lots of them on Instagram, and in the end we thought, oh wow, we've got to make another book. So earlier this year, we launched volume 2 of the book, another 44 artists, women artists working with light. It's going to be much easier for me to tell you who they are because their names are all on the pages. This is Inma Femina from Portugal. She does some amazing, huge scale works. Ginny Voss is a Dutch artist that works with moving lights and like changing coloured effects. Travelling Sand is the image that's shown there. We've got some neon artists. I think I possibly would have filled the book with all neon. I'm a massive fan of neon, but Sharon kept me under control. But this is Daisy Doig. She's a British neon artist based in Brighton in the UK. And her work's like really poignant. Actually, a lot of it's, if you read about what the works are about, they're really about her upbringing. It gives you a real insight into her. Afra Shemza is another fantastic UK artist who collaborates. She's got a very famous artist's grandfather, and her work is inspired by his work. And then the last one that we're just showing you now, this is Clara Daguin. This shows you the sort of variety of work that's in the book, really. Clara is essentially a fashion designer that works with light. So she's made some amazing pieces for some amazing people. And to be honest, yeah, so we've recently shown one of her works in a small launch of the book that we did in Milan.
Maybe I'd let you do a whole volume on neon artists.
Yeah, I could do that next. Thank you.
A conversation for another day. So we just wanted to show you some examples of the artists from the books. Obviously, there's a lot of them, but I think for us, it's been an amazing opportunity to showcase lots of women working with light that most people had never heard of or never come across before. And, you know, some of their work is absolutely stunning or groundbreaking. And the whole sort of impetus behind them is to share their work and to get their names out there. So
yeah,
that's kind of the reason for doing it.
So both the books are available on Amazon. Sorry, Sharon, I didn't know you were going to start then. Yeah, both the books are available on Amazon, so you can buy them. And we've had a couple of launches, and again with some print runs of them too.
So I guess that's just a sort of little bit of our light art journey. Looking for it, helping show it, helping share it, talking about it, and having a sort of mini obsession ourselves. You can find us on any of these things. If Martin changes the slide, that's how you can get in touch with us or find us. All of our old films of us traveling around the world, experiencing light art, or some new films are on YouTube. Most of it gets featured on Instagram now. I don't think we put anything on Facebook, but there you go.
Not for a long time. You're right. So yeah, I was lost in thought there, Sharon, when you said about us being sort of obsessed with the light art. It sort of reminded me of when people talk about DJs being sort of frustrated musicians. I think maybe that's our obsession comes from that. So if you want to follow us on Instagram, that's probably where most of our light art related content goes these days. But we also wanted to give a shout out to Dorothy Di Stefano. I don't know if you haven't heard of her, again, find her on Instagram. She shares art constantly. So some amazing sort of things that she's been sharing over the years. And yeah, she's a sort of really good curator and sharer of art.
And that's
So
it.
yeah, that's us done. So we're going to hand you back to Paulina now. Paulina, the floor is yours again for the next bit.
Thank you. Thank you. It's super inspiring. I think it's yeah, it's very like an injection of energy and creative inspiration. So thank you for sharing this from well, this is it's late at night for you, so thank you again. It's somehow the power of collaboration plus all the amazing things you can do. So I have tons of questions, but we will wait after Alex. Así que súper agradecidos de esta presentación. Y ahora nos guardamos las preguntas, ojalá que tengan muchas, para el final. Después de que Aleksandra presente, abrimos la sesión de preguntas. So Alex, thank you again for being with us from Belgrade, very, very late at night. So now the floor is yours.
Thank you, Paulina. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Sharon and Martin, for fantastic, inspiring presentation. It was fun to see photo from Singapore. I think that's where we met first time in that garage. Many things happened since then. It's amazing to see all things you're doing, and I do follow you carefully. Paulina, we met recently on an amazing trip to Atacama, which you organized. And it was such a pleasure and a great inspiration to follow your work. I have prepared let me see. Like this. Am I sharing? I guess I'm sharing now. Yeah, my background is art, visual art, and I've been in this field over 30 years now, starting carefully or with light, as that was my always desire to play with light. In the beginning, I didn't know how. I didn't know where to learn, so I learned a lot on my own, doing all kinds of experiments. And through life, I did also some nice courses and education, especially in Sweden, and learned how to work and get get encouraged to keep on working with light. And working with light, yeah, we work also with space. We work with different materials. We work with people. Light is very powerful material, very powerful language. So here I will go through some of my projects that I did in last 2-3 years. I usually, this is one last year, a new residential building, and it's the whole block. They integrated dynamic lighting in this a roof area, little roof under the balconies. It's a light, subtle light story that is surrounding this building. Another small project, but I think it's kind of important and hopefully inspiring. It's this text that says, I need to think, which is permanently placed on in suburb of Stockholm, to remind people that it is good to take a moment and think. I work very often with the public places, different kind of places. I like to work with architecture. I like places that are, I like museums also and galleries, but I like very much to work with the places that are not maybe made for art, but where art gives something very special, some positive element or some inspiration or some opening for own imagination. So this is one project where the light maybe is not the main element of the work. This work is called Inspiration, and it goes through the 3 staircases of the new built school in south of Sweden. So inspirations are those circles or inspiration bubbles that are integrated in a concrete walls. Lately, I do a lot of schools and sport buildings. This one, also in Sweden, it's a big facade of the sport facility where I worked with with the daylight, shadows and colors, creating this big silhouettes that represent different activities, the bodies in motion, and the work is called Motion. Because the facade is, the building is not very exciting architectural, building, but it has its function and qualities inside. And with this artwork, I wanted to put some idea what is happening inside. So there are layers of different figures and silhouettes that are overlapping each other, and together with this semi-reflecting surface and with help of daylight, they're creating different depths. Another sport hall. This one is not new build, it's a building from 60s, but I was commissioned to do work on one of the facades of this building. It's located in a small town in Sweden, but it is a interesting location, and this was a nice big clean surface to work with. This work is called Circle, and it represents circle of friends, and circle of light, and circle of different activities. I combine metal, and also this work has gets an extra element with the help of daylight and sunlight. This is a swimming pool facility in a small town in Sweden also. A project that I did 2 years ago, or last 2 years ago. I decided not to work with light, even though I was invited to create work in light. But I wanted to take care of to create a bigger scale piece that is playing with this clean surface and this wooden architecture, and kind of made a drawing of what is happening inside. Another swimming pool facility in another town of Sweden happened to get commissioned to do work in light for the foyer of this building, with very, very, very limited budget, but I decided to take inspiration of what is happening inside and to show that to be visible from the outside. So this work is called H2O. It's inspired by the water, and it represents a molecule, water molecule. It's like three spheres, of which one is bigger and two are slightly smaller. They're filled with light. Light is integrated inside. It's not light source is not visible, but it fills the space inside these spheres, and also creates the nice shadows in the roof of the building. So it does with its simple elements. It does change the expression through the day. Besides these permanent works, I do some temporary art exhibitions. I sometimes in a year I make between 5 and 10 exhibitions in different scales on different places around the world. This one was made, this is called Great Minds, to big brains, to great minds, inspired by all great minds, all creative people. It was made for the Nobel Week Lights a few years ago, where Nobel Week Lights is an event that is happening in Stockholm in the beginning of December. And the concept of this light art festival is to be inspired by the Nobel laureates. For this that occasion, when I was invited to do a piece, I couldn't choose any specific scientist or achievement, because everyone is so interesting and inspiring. So I put I made a monument for all great minds or creative people, and the piece is installed on the Royal Theatre, which also is a very creative place and a very important place for Stockholm. Great minds traveled lately in different places. This photo is from University town Uppsala, also in Sweden. It was installed on this magnificent building, which is one of the important buildings, university buildings in Uppsala. It's where the students from the north of Sweden are gathering. Here, great minds were also brainstorming. It's a dynamic light work. I don't have a video, but it's like the brains are talking to each other. So this was in Cankarjev Dom, on a cultural center in Ljubljana, in Slovenia, last year. And then also this was on a corner in a university town in Utrecht this year in February. For the celebration of the reopening or the opening of Cultural Center ROG in Ljubljana, I was invited to do a dynamic work to celebrate the reopening of the place, which used to be very famous factory for bicycles. But now it's a cultural center with opportunity for artists to use the workshops that are facilitated inside. My great inspiration also is nature. Beside people and architecture, I like from the big scale to go into more smaller microscopic world sometimes. When I have time, I like to spend time in my garden, and I like to also put light and play with the pieces I collect in the garden. Then these pieces sometimes inspire me to create other things, to collaborate with in another scale, with this choreography of light and herbs and vegetation. From time to time, I do create some video work. I often collaborate with the choreographer, Madeleine Carlson from Sweden, who is a fantastic choreographer. Also, she's teaching at the Royal Ballet School in Stockholm. So we have developed few performances together where my video is a scenography for her pieces. As a nature, as a vegetation, rocks, water, sky, sun, shadows, always inspires me. Lately, for the last 5 years, I'm working with curator Dulce Alber in Sweden, who is working on an Island of Light festival. It's a light art in nature, where the focus is really nature, and all the works are created in connection with the nature and this specific place. So this beauty, there are always on any level, there is a lot to see and to work with and to get inspired. So I've been developing things there for years, and besides all these beautiful things in the nature, there are also many kind of scary things that are results of human activities in this nature. So this is a marine recycling center, one of my, I don't know if I can call it playgrounds, but it is a place where I take the material to create some works for Island of Light, to put attention on the environment and what we are doing with our environment. These are ghost nets that are collected from the cleaning, ocean cleaning actions that the local activists are collecting. It's interesting to see what mountains of this marine waste is collected, but it also gives us artists material to work with. So last year I've been doing different things, but last year I was invited there on a very short notice to create a work, like a kind of experimental work, to just travel there, find what inspires me and do something in a day or 2 days. So I collected all these colorful, I think it's called boys. One day I put them together, everything I could find, in a very long piece. I filled some of them with light sources, not all of them. Thinking of all this underwater life, all this vegetation that I've been looking at, studying for previous years, and together with these technicians who were so kind to help me to put up this long piece on between the rocks above the Smögen village, without any test that day. Here is a little canoe that I managed to find and borrow to put this piece inside and to take this little journey over the bay to place the lantern, that I called it, on the position. And it was an interesting experience for me. This is it was without calculating how to create peace. This was like like when you are doing croquis drawings. This was creating a piece, but in real, in a big scale. And it looked very much like seaweed or some sea flower coming out of the water. And there are many beautiful details that this then collaborated with. All these reflections in the water, because it was not just a lantern above the water, it was also all the help of water, wind, and surrounding details that made this piece really fantastic. So looking through my projects now, when I was preparing this presentation, I wanted, because the topic was collaboration with the community, and I very often, I mean, I work site specific, and each my project is very connected to the place. But then I found this one. It's a small project, but it is very dear project to me. It is a little tunnel in a small town in Sweden called Borlänge. And it's not even in the center of this town. It is in a suburbs. And as you can see, it's not very exciting suburb, and it's not very exciting area. The park is called the Paradise Park. And there is ambition, of course, to make something nice out of this area, at least to sound nice. When I came here, the idea was to create something for the tunnel, something that will make this area a bit more safe and a little bit more attractive. I wanted to collaborate with the people in the area, with kids or whoever wanted to say something. So I invited the local community to join me in creating a poetic work, which is called Poetry Impulse, a dynamic work in light that reads poetic pieces that are created together with people. It's collected thoughts and visions and ideas from neighborhood on what those people would like to do, or how they see their future, or what they feel in the moment. So we put from the ideas that I collected, I created this text that reacts on a presence of people, and then the light impulse start moving through the poem. It says, it's in different languages because this area is, there are many people with different backgrounds, people that are coming from all different parts of the world. Swedish language is not the main language for most of the people here. So I used all these languages that people contributed with. I would like to teleport myself in the future to the world full of love, peace, and no racism. Love myself. In the future, I would like to reach the moon. So there are these different fragments of the, let's say, I like to call it poems, that are popping up while you're walking through the tunnel. So here are some of the contributors. And for the Nobel Week Lights last edition in 2024, was invited to create another work for inspired by the Nobel Prizes, Nobel Awards. I went through many of the laureates. There are exactly 1,000. Everything is interesting, but this time I felt that especially one person I would like to somehow highlight, and that's Malala. Malala was awarded a Nobel Peace Award for her work, for her fight for every children to have education. She was just 17 years old and the youngest laureate, and she received the award exactly 10 years ago. In her beautiful speech 10 years ago in Oslo, she was the voice of all children on this planet, and it's a beautiful speech. I was thinking how to work with Malala's words, and not to make interpretation of her talk, but just to say exactly what she said. Then I chose the shortest sentence in her speech, which is this one: "Let this be the last time that a child loses life in war." And it felt so important to this time put light on this sentence. Together with Nobel Week Lights, we made the 36 meters big text in white text in light that was strategically positioned in the heart of Stockholm, between the Royal Palace, in front of the Parliament, and in between all the other very important buildings. It was surrounded in a subtle dark area. It was very bright in light and with a very powerful message. So this text, this hope, it's called hope. It would be nice to shine, to spread the light and spread the hope to the world, and inspire for us to rethink. So with this, I would like to now finish my presentation and to thank you for your time, and to thank Paulina and Jimena for inviting me. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Bye.
Thank you. Super, thank you. And it's super also inspiring to see amazing projects doing with a short time and low budget. Just give us hope, because many times we see amazing projects that are very hard for our kind of budget to achieve. So when you show us your work, it's really, really inspiring. So thank you again, and I think we're going to open for the questions. Así que súper agradecidos de que estén con nosotros, y si alguien quiere hacer una pregunta, este es el momento. Y si no, la hago yo. So I have a question. I have a question for both of you, but for Light Collective is when you make all these collaborative projects, you have a thing in your mind, but then after all the collaborations, the thing that comes, the real outcome could be totally different. That's happened? Or how is it what you think and on what you get in this process? What you imagine? And sometimes it's more amazing, or is something that you didn't expect it, or is more or less what you think it was going to happen.
I would say that everything always goes wrong at some point. And we're always really overly ambitious. So,
Yeah.
you know, the idea of getting 300 children to do something sounds relatively simple, but in reality is incredibly difficult. And then it's having to wire it all up in a day, just me and Martin, for example, is some, you know, things are always a lot harder and not as simple as we think they're going to be. And we make the same mistake always.
Always make it more difficult than it should be. I think the other thing I would say is a lot of the time as well, when we do a collective project, we try and control a lot of the elements. So, I mean, you don't know, like, for example, with the little postcards with the light shining through, creating the shadows on the wall, we knew it would look good. We didn't know what people were going to say, but we knew it would look good. So we're controlling as much of it as we can to make sure the outcome is something that everybody who's involved will be proud of and will love it. And then with something like those postcards, actually what people said was so much more moving than we could have ever imagined, that it did turn out way better than we even thought it would. But the thing we have learned is that you've got to sort of know what it's sort of going to look like at the end, and try and control the elements so that it does look good or consistent or something. So that's a lesson.
But you also can't there'll always be someone that does something not quite the way you want. So we ended up with quite a few sort of rude messages to Light that we had to edit out.
Yeah.
Okay. The censorship.
Yeah.
So,
There's I don't know if I can say it, I'll say it anyway. There's a phrase in public art, in the UK anyway, at least, it's called TTP. And so whenever you're doing a collective artwork involving the public, you always have this phrase that's called TTP, and it's basically time to penis. So it's the time it takes for somebody to draw a penis on whatever you're doing, or with whatever you're doing. So that's the thing you've got to deal with.
Okay, so good to know mistakes, because in Spanish we have a lot of make a lot of these mistakes between countries. That one thing means something, you say it in another country, and then it doesn't work. So this is well, I think was very amazing, this power of collaboration. And here is a question from Cristian Verdejo. I don't know, Cristian, do you want to ask the question? Open ¿Quieres abrir el micrófono, Cristian, y preguntarla?
Ya. ¿Se me escucha?
Sí.
Bueno, yo soy estudiante de diseño gráfico y actualmente me encuentro en mi tesis. Estoy haciendo una investigación sobre la contaminación acústica acá en la región metropolitana, acá en Santiago.
Ya, pausa para traducir. So Christian is a student and he's making his final thesis in Santiago, and okay, this is a context for him to ask because it's related with ours.
Ya.
Yeah.
Más que nada eso, entender cómo la desigualdad ambiental en cuanto a un entorno industrial y uno rural. En sí estoy utilizando el sonido como mi eje narrativo. Lo que en sí estoy buscando es que la luz también se termine acoplando a mi proyecto, porque pienso que tanto el sonido como la luz van de la mano en cuanto a generar como un entorno inmersivo. Por lo que mi pregunta, aquí está. Por lo que, a ver, desde la experiencia de ellos, ¿cómo perciben que la luz y el sonido en sí pueden colaborar para generar conciencia o más que nada poder representar algo que no sea tan literal? De cierta manera, generar una narrativa desde lo sensorial. Eso.
Difícil, voy a tratar de traducir. La
Ya.
voy a repetir, como resumir. So
Sí.
he's working with in like he talk about inequity in the city, and he's working with sounds, and the question is that the collaboration, how you think or perceive or imagine the collaboration between light and sound in this context of es para el arte, ¿no es cierto? ¿O es para...?
Claro, sí.
Okay, for like an art installation that include this, is the merge of sound and art. And I think it was in an industrialized merging context of a city. It was a very complex question, so you can answer.
Who's going to go first? Okay, obviously I can't answer that as an artist, but I would say that some of the most powerful light experiences I've had have also included sound, and it's that sort of extra emotion that having light coordinated with sound, having vision coordinated with hearing, to me it's a massive extra layer for an experience to have both elements working in hand.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with that. It is the sound and image, vision, like they create the complete experience. But sometimes when you work in public places, in cities, sometimes you cannot use sound. That's the problem when for some light events, we're just not allowed to use sound. but when you have a possibility in a place to create work with the sound, it is fantastic. I work usually with sound, including sound in my work, but for permanent works, that's mostly impossible.
I feel like, sorry, I feel like there's many light art exhibitions that I've experienced where the sound is all very similar. So it could tend to be, you know, sort of quite a sort of discordant, a sort of white noise kind of approach. And that seems to be quite common. And I would like to see some sort of, you know, pieces that where the sound is more uplifting or is different or is more about nature, or it feels like there are many things you walk into and it's like, oh, they're using the same kind of sound again. So even though the light piece might be very beautiful, very stunning, it's as if it doesn't quite work together. For me, I feel like I hear something very often on repeat. And I can think of ones that certainly Martin and I have been to where that hasn't been the case, and that has made it special and unique. So yeah, I think there's probably more work to be done in the arena of pairing sound with light art. I think there could be, that's not across the board, but I feel like there could be, yeah, improvements made into the soundtracks that people pair their work with.
Thank you. That's very bold question. So very bold answer. I like it. I have a question for Alex. I love this project that you show with the buoyants, las boyas, and the relation with the fisherman, the community, with this small community, and then when you lift the buoyants with the cable, this moment, wow! And then when they turn it on, how was the reaction of the people?
Yeah, the reaction was great for everyone of us. Also me, it was a surprise, surprisingly. You know, it was one of these projects that you said when the budget almost doesn't exist, and the time doesn't exist either to test things. So it was you know, putting all these like mess of boys in a, and then it started to lift and it started to grow and it started to, like, as we were pulling the rope, the wires, the boys, or the lantern was raising and growing up, and it started to get its shape and to move in a space, and suddenly realized it was a huge piece. It was over 10 meters, and it was such a big in a proportion with the environment and in between these rocks and over the water. So yeah, reactions were fantastic. Was impressive. Being there on the place, and it got also with reflection in the water, it got like even double bigger.
Oh yes, I think this project is super poetic. Oh, all the things, the movement, the being you in a very tiny boat, and this lifted in, where you don't see the fire, so it's like lifted in the air. And
yeah, and it looks very like airy and light and like bubbles, like but it's very heavy. Everything was very heavy and big, and I was lucky we didn't end up in the water under this heavy load of plastic boys. but that's what I like. I mean, usually, what Martin, you were mentioning, and Sharon, in your project, when you plan your project and you are very ambitious and you have an idea and how things should develop, and surprises come on the way. And I mean, that's part of creative process. Every project, I'm sure for everyone, I guess it's more or less like that. You need, yeah, you need to adapt. But I like also to, I mean, I would love to have a control over my projects. I have a vision of what I would like to achieve. And sometimes to adapt to that vision, it's more complicated than in other cases. But through the years, I learned that this vision is important to keep. It's like and it's not even, I mean, even the shape of the piece or the project can, through the process, change. But this feeling and this concept and this vision keeps you to reach the final idea. So it is exciting process for me. It's always exciting, and I know there will be things to change, to adapt to. But I mean, that's always excitement in a development. Sometimes gets even better than first idea.
So it's very interesting the answers to learn that I've experienced when you work in a project that you don't control over things, and it's clever what the Light Collective said, that if you can hold for the things that you can control, and the rest can surprise you, and and also that everything that can go wrong, something will go wrong. So be prepared for this flexibility of surprising and reaction.
Yeah, and it's not true that things go wrong. It's like even if you are alone in your little studio, maybe you can control things. But as soon as you are out in a space, in a city, when other people are involved, when the nature is involved, weather conditions, it's just to find a good collaboration.
Yo no sé si hay otra pregunta. Si no, cerramos. So, thank you for this extra 20 minutes, and good night for you. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful for your sharing wisdom and energy and inspiration. So, super thank you.